Did you know that over 80% of motorcycle accidents are caused by common mistakes? In this video, we're diving into the 3 deadly errors that could put your life at risk. These mistakes are totally in your control, and avoiding them can drastically reduce your chances of a fatal crash. And this isn't just guesswork, these are hard facts backed by statistics. So, are you making these mistakes? Let's find out. Now, as we make our way along, some of you might think that this is just common sense stuff. But if it's so common, then why are so many motorcycle riders still dying as a result of these mistakes? And maybe you're already doing all these things correctly and not making any of these errors. If so, then great job. But there might be others out there who aren't doing as well. So make sure and share this video with all of them so we can all be safer out on the road. And if you think there could be some errors that you're making on your motorcycle, then stay tuned to learn how to protect yourself. Now, whether you're someone who's just getting into motorcycle riding or you've been riding for many years out on the streets, you should know at this point that motorcycle riding can be very dangerous. In fact, motorcyclists are around 24 times more likely to die in a crash per mile traveled compared to car occupants. And that's when they're riding completely sober. Now, what happens if you add alcohol or other impairments to the mix? Well, a study done in 2020 by the National Highway Traffic Safety Association showed that around 41% of motorcycle riders who died in single vehicle crashes were alcohol impaired. This means there were no other vehicles involved and no one else to blame, just the rider, riding impaired, getting themselves killed. Now, with those statistics alone, it should be pretty obvious that alcohol poses a significant risk to motorcycle riders. But just in case that common sense that isn't so common hasn't sunk in yet, here's 3 key reasons why you should avoid alcohol when riding a motorcycle. Now, before we get into those key points, I think it's important that we understand the legal BAC limit for anyone operating a vehicle in the United States. BAC stands for blood alcohol concentration. The legal BAC limit for motorcycle riders in the United States is 0.08%. This means that if a motorcycle rider has a BAC of 0.08% or higher, they are considered legally impaired and can be charged with a DUI. Now, regardless of what this BAC limit number is, it's important to remember that even a small amount of alcohol or drugs or other impairments can affect your ability to ride a motorcycle safely. So now that we understand the legal limit, let's find out why alcohol is such a big problem. The first key reason is that when you consume alcohol, you're going to have impaired judgment and slower reaction time. Alcohol affects cognitive functions, reducing a rider's ability to make quick and accurate decisions. This delay in reaction time can be fatal when trying to navigate unexpected obstacles or sudden changes in traffic conditions. Not only is your judgment and reaction time going to be affected, but you're going to have reduced motor skills and balance. Alcohol impairs motor skills and coordination, which are critical for maintaining control of your motorcycle. It also affects balance, making it difficult for riders to stay upright and maneuver safely. Just think about the last time you saw somebody drunk on alcohol trying to walk. Now picture that same person trying to ride a motorcycle safely. And now that we have issues with our motor skills and balance, we're also inclined to take more risks on our machine as well. Alcohol lowers inhibitions and can lead to riskier behavior, such as speeding, aggressive riding, and not wearing protective gear. This increased tendency of dangerous actions significantly increases the likelihood of crashes and injuries. By acknowledging and understanding these key points, hopefully it's clear to you now why you should separate the use of alcohol and other drugs from riding a motorcycle. If you're even thinking about going for a ride on your motorcycle, make sure you're 100% sober and ready to rock and roll. Now, hopefully by this point, we've gotten the message that alcohol and motorcycles don't mix. So what's another deadly mistake that keeps killing motorcycle riders? Well, did you know that motorcycles are involved in fatal crashes at a rate of 26 per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, which is almost 22 times higher than the rate for passenger car occupants. So what's the highest contributing factor here? Speed. Speeding is a significant problem for motorcycle riders due to the following reasons. Number 1, reduced reaction times. Higher speeds give riders less time to react to obstacles or changes in the road, increasing the likelihood of a crash. Number 2, increased severity of crashes. Not only do we have a higher chance now of getting into crash because we're speeding, but if we do get into that crash, it's going to be so much worse because of the higher speeds. The impact and injuries sustained in a crash are far worse at higher speeds, often resulting in life-threatening or fatal outcomes, especially on a motorcycle where you have nothing to protect you but the gear you're wearing. Number 3, loss of control. Believe it or not, motorcycles are more difficult to control at higher speeds. This is especially true if you're trying to navigate curves, dealing with any uneven surfaces, or trying to make a sudden maneuver. Any of these situations, mixed with higher speeds, put you at a greater risk of losing control on your motorcycle and crashing. Now, I'm not here to judge you personally, but I want to take a moment and ask this question. Have you ever been guilty of speeding on your motorcycle? Do you know anyone else who's ever exceeded the speed limit on their motorcycle? Speeding is a huge problem across the motorcycle community, and it's a common mistake that's getting a lot of riders killed, even though they should know better. So we know that alcohol and speeding are huge mistakes that are getting motorcycle riders killed. But what's the third big mistake? In states without universal helmet laws, 57% of motorcycle riders killed in crashes were not wearing helmets, compared to only 11% in states that require helmets by law. Have you ever gone for a quick ride on your motorcycle before without your helmet on? Some riders make the mistake of not wearing a helmet at all, and others make the mistake of getting a helmet and not ensuring that it's of quality material. If you've been eyeing up that helmet on eBay with the cute little cat ears, think again. Or maybe you want that Predator style helmet with the dreadlocks? No thanks. Helmets are designed to absorb impact and reduce the risk of traumatic brain injuries during a crash. Without a helmet, and a quality one at that, riders are more vulnerable to severe head injuries, which can be life-threatening. In many places, wearing a helmet is legally required. Not wearing one can lead to fines, penalties, and higher medical costs in the event you crash, if you survive. In addition to injury protection and legal consequences, helmets provide additional protection from road debris, weather conditions, and even wind noise, contributing to your safety on a motorcycle. Now, we've touched on these three big mistakes: alcohol, speeding, and not wearing a high quality helmet, as far as getting riders killed on their motorcycles. Now, it might be obvious that making any one of these mistakes can be potentially life threatening for you on your motorcycle. But did you know there's some riders out there who combine all three of these mistakes at once? What do you think their chances of surviving are? All right, so we've covered three huge mistakes that are getting motorcycle riders killed almost every single day. But I want to throw in a fourth one. For those of you who stuck around to the end of the video, here's a little bonus for you, and one that I think is probably one of the most important on the list, if not the most important. Deadly mistake number 4, assuming you have the right of way. Assuming you have the right of way is a huge problem for motorcycle riders and one of the deadliest mistakes you can possibly make. This is because it can lead to dangerous and potentially fatal situations. And all the while you're thinking you're good to go. Motorcyclists are often less visible to other drivers. And if they assume other vehicles will yield to them, they may not be prepared to react to unexpected actions. When's the last time you were cruising your motorcycle down the street, you have a green light up ahead at the intersection, and somebody still turns left in front of you, cutting off your path? It doesn't matter if you think you have the right of way. If you continue to ride along with that mentality and that car does pull in front of you and cut you off, it's going to get you killed, right of way or not. This false sense of security can result in collisions at intersections, lane merges, and other traffic scenarios. By always being cautious and defensive and never assuming you have the right of way, motorcycle riders can anticipate and avoid potential hazards. Always assume that vehicle's going to pull out in front of you. Always assume somebody's going to cut you off. Always assume somebody else is going to take your right of way from you. Then you'll never have an issue. This reminds me of a great comment that I got from a viewer a while back that said, "The right of way is never taken, it is always given." Keep that in mind. So there you have it. There's 3, actually 4 deadly mistakes that motorcycle riders keep making that are getting them killed. Have you ever made these or any other mistakes on your motorcycle? Share your story in the comments so we can all learn from one another and be safer on our motorcycles out on the roads. And if this was all common sense to you and you're not making any of these mistakes personally, don't forget to share this video with other riders who might benefit from hearing this information. Remember, in this day and age, common sense isn't so common. But what if you're not making any of these mistakes, but there's something else holding you back when riding your motorcycle? Maybe something like fear. Well, then watch this video next to learn how to conquer fear once and for all and never be scared on your motorcycle again.